Father God, I thank you so much for this next podcast episode, God, and just the gifts that you've put inside of Randy. And I just pray for a spirit of courage over us, that we have the courage to speak the truth that you have put inside of us, the wisdom and the discernment to understand. And we thank you for the opportunity to use what you've put in us, Father, and to give it away to the world. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen.
Welcome back to another episode of the Cody Cottle Show. Today, I am joined by a legend, Randy Zimnoch. He is just on fire in real estate. He's a real estate expert from, I think you said you've done over 350 flips. He has a massive growing team. He had his own brokerage, switched to EXP, and he's also a husband, a great husband, and a great father with a 2-year-old and another girl on the way, and somebody that is truly taking the gifts that he has and figuring out a way to build the life that he wants to live. Randy, welcome to the show.
Hey, great to be here. Wow. It was recorded, right? That's a perfect, amazing intro.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that over and over again.
You can use it, bro. You can have it. But yeah, man, welcome to the show.
Yeah, great to be here. Thank you. I appreciate it. I've been watching your show and seen some of the guests you've had, and it's inspiring. I like the flow and what you do and impacting people's lives. So
yeah. Well, let's change some lives today. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
So I'm going to catch you off guard with this. Well, if you've listened to the episodes, you might be ready for it. But I want to ask you, what do you value most in life?
For me, it's time. I value time the most. And when I have time, then that allows me to spend time with God, spend time with family. Now, like you mentioned, with my almost 2-year-old daughter, that's a precious, precious time that I get to have every morning or anytime I come out of my office or evening. That's what it is. It's if I can create my life around the value of time, then I know everything else is going to fall into place.
I love that. That's so powerful. And we get so consumed with so many things nowadays that take so much of our time. And I want to ask you, pre-having kids, maybe even pre-marriage, did you have the same value that you have on time then as you do now?
Oh, yeah, good. Yeah, I would say yes. I feel like that was always something that I've strived to do, where I can create opportunities that will keep paying me on a monthly basis or yearly basis, depending on the venture. So I can then take off and maybe travel the world. So before I got married, I was traveling all over. Like I think I've been to like 26, 27 countries.
Wow. What was your favorite one?
It has to be when I went to climb Mount Kilimanjaro.
Ooh, you climbed Mount Kilimanjaro?
Yeah, that was the trip of a lifetime. I went with one of my good friends and one of my mentors. Actually, my mentor put this trip together.
Wow.
And there were 25 or something around 25 people from around the world, all entrepreneurs, including myself and my buddy Benny. And the idea behind it was to volunteer at an orphanage first for a couple of days. Wow. You had no choice. Portion of your tuition went towards that. Then you really got to see what Tanzania is like in real life, right? Then we got to hike Mount Kilimanjaro for, it was 5 days up, and we had 2 Sherpas per person. So it was, I call it luxury hiking to a degree. Like it wasn't as what you might imagine, and like where I was like, it was hard, don't get me wrong, because it was a lot of walking and the elevation levels, and that had an impact on your body, but it was overall pretty easy, let's just say.
Yeah.
But the whole experience of being with no technology and just being around people from all over the world, literally. Wow. And you made friends because you had no choice, and you just connected at a level that, we tend to forget what that's like because you had nothing else to think about. Just your next step and your next breath, and then you can talk because you had to walk really slow. That's it. You were not allowed to walk fast because the elevation level, you had to allow your body to constantly readjust.
Whoa.
And anyway, so then you go through 4 to 5 different environments, basically, from the jungle to just black rocks to winter, all types, rainforest. It was just wild,
all in one hike.
All in one hike.
Wow, it's like life.
And then and then you came down. It's 2 days to come down, so it's a lot faster. But we had our meals made for us, and then we had masterminds on the mountain at each camp campground where we stayed overnight. Every evening we had a mastermind about business and how it connects to, or how does Mount Kilimanjaro and that current experience relate to what we're doing in business.
That's cool.
And it was like and then to finish that trip, we added a luxury kind of experience at the end. So, you went from the orphanage experience, the real life of Tanzania, to a adventure, more physical thing, to finishing in a 5-star hotel, overlooking the jungle, or a safari. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Overlooking the safari, like real life. Just
I'm sold.
Wow.
Whatever the mentor charged, he's still doing it.
And actually, I think his name is Blair Singer. He's
Blair. I'm gonna be reaching out. Blair. Take my money. I want that experience.
Yeah. Anytime someone asks me what's the best trip, you can't top it. It's so hard because it was like, how do you try to combine charitable work, physical activity, and a mastermind into one trip? It's very hard.
That's cool. So time, and I'm curious for your journey, and I know where you're at in real estate, and I know the success that you've had, and we'll get into some of that. But at what age were you discovered, hey, I want to create financial freedom, time freedom, and what sparked that for you?
Yeah. Well, it goes back to just watching my parents, honestly, because I moved to New Jersey from Poland when I was 11. And then I watched my parents work really hard, not speaking really the English language. So they had, jobs that, like my dad was a welder. My mom was working in a factory. In the evenings, we cleaned YMCAs to make ends meet. And, instead of me going to play with friends, I was cleaning floors in the YMCA at 8 p.m. at night when it closes or whatever, So that was, as a family, we did that. And it was eye-opening. In a moment when it's happening, you'd think this is it. Like, this is fine. This is normal, right? Like, we do what we got to do. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Like, my parents tell me to do it. We're going to do it. Was I happy? No, probably, right? Overall. But then as I got older and older, I watched that from a lens of like, wow, they're working so hard. And they've allowed us to come to America and create, I can do anything I really can in this country now. And I was like, I need to do, like almost them in essence, like it's my duty to build something that will level up our next generation, which is now me, and then the generation after us, and can't let it go to waste. Right.
Yeah.
So that was the driving factor, including one specific moment that I remember when I had to get new shoes for basketball because I played basketball in high school.
Were you good?
I was pretty good. I was a captain, so I'm not gonna brag. My friends always laugh because I think I scored 50 something points. So I always bring that up with my friends. But anyway, it was a fun. Basketball was what actually got me to allow to have friends, to be honest, because when you don't speak English, you get picked on.
Yeah.
Early on. So I also experienced bullying, and basketball broke through that.
Wow.
It was interesting. That's a whole nother story there. But I guess what I was getting at is I needed shoes, sneakers, and my parents they said they don't have the money for it. And I still remember that when they were arguing over if I should have sneakers or not.
Wow. How'd that make you feel?
That's the trigger for me now. It's like that's driving me to this day that I will never allow that to be the case in my family, where my daughter now, which, at this point have a girl, and if she comes to me, I want to be able to say yes, within reason. Like, right. I don't want her to just be spoiled and feel like she's entitled to anything she asks for. But when it's something like that, sneakers so she can go play, volleyball or whatever she decides to play. Like, I want to be able to yeah, sure, let's go.
Yeah.
Not even think about it.
Right.
So yeah.
That's cool. And it's catalyst, right? You had that experienced childhood, you watched your parents, you were part of that. And then that, like, why can't I have sneakers? Oh, because we can't afford it. Well, why can't we afford it? Oh, because my parents didn't figure out how to create financial freedom. Oh, so how do I do that, right? So you had that inside of you. I think along a journey, when I meet successful people like yourself, I always typically find a pattern and a theme inside of them that they had mentors along the way. and usually they find people, and sometimes mentor can be a book, right? It could be a podcast like this. It could be an in-person. Did you find someone young that helped you get mentorship, or did you just figure it out on your own?
No. My first business was a cleaning service business.
Following in the family footsteps.
And yeah, because it was mainly, I was a waiter. So this is after college. I knew I do not want to work for anybody, right? So I was like, let me figure this out. I had a business management degree. So I was a waiter at this small Italian restaurant, and I convinced my parents that they should start a cleaning service business so they can get out of the hard labor, of welding, my dad and my mom working at a factory for minimum wage. Not that cleaning is not hard. It is. It's just at least you get paid more.
Right.
And you do it for yourself, right? So they agreed, and I basically started passing out cards to my clients that would come, and I would serve them food, and we were close because it was a little small Italian restaurant, and that's how I built the first business for my parents.
Right.
And then I had to convince my dad, to release the physical work to go to his own business of cleaning homes, which is, if you can imagine, as a man, it's probably not the top thing on your list that you want to do.
Yeah.
Right? If you were to pick between welding or cleaning homes, you'd probably still pick welding.
Yeah.
Right? But eventually he agreed, and it was the best thing. They retired cleaning homes.
Wow.
Basically. And now they're good. Between my real estate knowledge and their business, we were able to get them to a place where now they're retired. They make enough to basically pay all their bills. Our house is paid off, which was always a worry of mine. What am I going to do? How am I going to set myself up so I can actually be there for my parents when they're going to need me financially? That was always a worry of mine.
Wow.
And through real estate, God led me, because of my knowledge, I was able to navigate through that and buy certain houses for them, and now they're good.
And set them up with the knowledge that you learned, because that's where you're at now. You have multiple businesses and things that you're doing, but a lot of it, the theme is always real estate, right?
Always, yeah.
How'd you get into that?
Well, when you asked about the first mentor, that's where I was getting to, and this kind of ties it all together. I went to one of my buddies from high school was Conrad, and he ended up starting a flipping company in New Haven, Connecticut. And when I basically got tired of running my own cleaning service company, because I also started my own later, and had like 12 employees. We had 250 accounts, anyway, I hit a ceiling in that business, which is kind of ties into what you asked me before. Like my vision always was like, how can I create something that will continue to pay me, right? Create that freedom, and I didn't see it in a cleaning service business. I was like, okay, I hit a ceiling. So I reached out to my buddy Conrad, and then they became my first mentors in real estate. I interned with them in New Haven, Connecticut when I was like 28 years old.
Wow, you're my age.
For $0. I was like, hey, I just want to learn. And that was my first, I would call them my first mentors, Than, Conrad, Paul, JD.
Wow.
So yeah.
They've gone on to be some mentors for
many.
A lot of many.
For many.
Yeah, many.
Thousands. Yeah. So I always say I'm one of their first students.
That's a privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's cool. So you found mentorship in real estate. Then what happened? How'd you start your business in real estate and building your wealth?
So this was 2006 when I was interning, and I would travel to Connecticut from New Jersey. I would spend half a week in Connecticut working on whatever they wanted me to work, and then the other half working in my cleaning service business.
Wow.
So I would commute. I would sleep on my buddy's couch, Conrad's couch, for 6 months. And then Than said, you should get your license if you're going to do this business in Jersey. So at the same time, I was getting my real estate license in Jersey. And then Christmas came, and I was like, all right, guys, I'm not going to come back after the holidays. I'm doing this. Like, you gave me enough confidence now and knowledge where I think I can kind of go with this on my own. And that's how it started. January 2007 was the launch of my real estate career. Like, let's just say.
Interesting time to start.
Yeah, that's when everything was crashing. Which actually I'm glad, because I learned the business of real estate when everything was falling apart, right?
Yeah.
So I learned how to deal with distressed homeowners, how to deal with short sales and REOs, and where all these agents were getting out of the business. I got in, and I was like, I don't know any better. This is what it is.
Right.
But they taught me how to navigate through that.
Wow.
To me, it was kind of normal, and we became successful. And my first flip was a wholesale that I did with he was my partner, Jonathan Steingraber, who's one of my good friends still. We partnered on this first flip, said, hey, if this goes well together, we'll do a joint venture, then we'll start a business together. And we did. 3 months, we flipped it, made 36 grand, and we split the money, and we're like, all right, I think let's do this full time. And then I quit the cleaning service business, gave it up to my family. He quit his bartending job in New York City, and then we went all in.
Wow.
After that.
And this was in 07?
07, yeah. So about June of 07 was where we went full time because of that first flip. It kind of made it real, like, wow, it works, right?
And you said something, you said you had the confidence and the knowledge to go for it. I think that first word's very important. I think it's something that's often not talked about enough in business, because the people that develop the confidence to go for it are usually the ones that figure out how to win, from what I've seen.
Yep.
And there's so many people that the knowledge is key. Like, you can't, be fully blind. I mean, you can go in blind and make a lot of mistakes and gain the knowledge, right? But if you got mentors, it cuts it down. But I think so many people are held back because they just don't believe in themselves. They don't have the confidence to go do it.
Yeah.
Do you think confidence has played a role in your success?
Oh, absolutely. And that's, to be honest, I actually look for people that want to get to whatever their vision is, whatever their goals are. Start the way I started, because the way I can tell you is, like, you can pay for knowledge, which then should give you confidence if you apply it.
Right.
Right. Or you can intern and work at the bottom for someone and not even make any money for a while and be okay with it, because you will gain hands-on experience with knowledge. So it's action applied by accountability.
Right.
Like, you have no choice. You're in that environment.
Yeah.
Right.
You're serving that person that has the knowledge.
That's it. And it's even more powerful than sometimes paying for knowledge, because you have to then motivate yourself to apply it.
Yeah.
Many people can't motivate themselves. They need someone else motivating them. So I actually look for people that, the younger generation, always to plug them into my businesses. And I will always tell them, even including my niece. My niece got licensed, a couple of years ago, or whatever it was, a year and a half. I said, look, I can help you if this is the career you want, but you got to be an intern for me, and I'm not going to pay you for X amount of months. I think it was like 3-4 months. I was like, I want to see if you're going to like it and if you got what it takes. And she did. And I appreciated that, because then that allows me to pour into those people even more, because to me, it's like they get it.
Yeah.
They have that mindset that I had when I was 28, where most people are like, I better get a job or just figure something out. I'm like, sign me up for a free internship.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's kind of how I
Proximity
help
is
people
power.
with confidence building, if that makes.
Yeah, and you got confidence by serving those guys, and Conrad and Than and all those guys, right? But you're also in proximity to them.
Proximity, yeah.
And to get closer to what you want in life. That's one thing I've learned. Like, how do I get in proximity to what I want in life?
Yeah.
At whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I think so many people, I come from like a working class family, like, always odd end jobs, this and that, just trying to rent to rent, paycheck to paycheck.
Yep.
And it's like, they're only thinking about how they can get enough just to get by. So many people are like, how do I make the sacrifice to go serve what I want to learn how to be in proximity to someone building wealth in real estate? If that means even at 30 years old, giving up making money really to go be in proximity to somebody you're going to learn hands-on from, the longevity of the compound effect of that knowledge is far beyond with that 6 months of no pay or whatever it would be.
And you also don't know what that can lead to, right? Like, my decision to be an intern with those guys has led me to be, a partner in the flipping company that I did 150 flips with. To
350 flips, guys.
With them. Like, if I didn't do that, there's no way I would be a partner with them.
Yeah.
Right? Later, when I moved to San Diego because I wanted to be closer to them again.
Wow.
Right? Having my own business in Jersey, I decided to visit them. And then 30 days later, I'm like, I'm going to freaking stay here. Why am I living in New Jersey?
Yeah.
But again, proximity. But they had confidence in me because I learned based on their systems. So then I became a partner in the flipping company. Then I opened a brokerage with them. Then we spin that into the EXP organization. Like, I'm still connected to them
100%.
because of what I did in 2006.
Wow. And Colin Higginbottom, we both know Colin, and
Yeah.
leads Pathfinders, and an amazing man. And I love how he talks about what you honor comes towards you. And I think that's so big. I think you're a living testimony of what you've honored in life coming towards you. And I think so few people know how to do that.
And I appreciate that. And the way I approached it, and I remind people that this is my story. Like, I'm not telling you something to do that I didn't do.
Right.
I'm like, so I was like, the way I got ahead with becoming a partner in a flipping company to then owning a brokerage with them and doing all these businesses with them and other people after is because I remember specifically I would go to GED, who was running CT Homes at that point, and needed some help. And I knew that. And I would always go to him like, hey, what else can I take off your plate? Hey,
Wow.
what else can I take off your plate? How can we keep you in your, genius, right? Because we all have certain strengths and weaknesses. How can I remove some of the things you hate doing? And I would ask those questions. Like, this is before I was partner yet. This is just literally, we showed up. They didn't think we were going to move. So my buddy John, my partner from New Jersey, we just showed up. We're like, we're here. We told you we're coming. And we just came into their office like, what can we do? So we had no plan with them yet. It was just like, we're here. We can help you. Let's build CT Homes again on the West Coast.
Wow.
And that's how we started, by just asking that question, like, what can we take off your plate, JD? And he's like, oh, help with acquisitions. Cool. Oh, help with selling this house. Get your license. Cool. So we just did it with no pay.
Yeah.
Again, knowing that, hey, we can do this. This can lead to something big. And then it did.
That's so powerful.
Here we are.
And it's so opposite of what so many people do. I feel like you saw the long game versus playing the short game.
Yeah. That's the way I look at life. Sometimes there's definitely a level of impatience that I even have.
Yeah.
I think we all want something to move faster, right? We're like, oh man, this is taking forever. But what I found over time, that eventually things will fall into place and the compound effect will take over.
That's good. So I have a question for you. I think you always hear that there's been more millionaires created out of real estate than anything else. And it's true. And now there's a lot of hype too around real estate, right? Like, I'm going to get in real estate and I'm going to make money. I'm going to be wealthy. And you see so many people come and go and high churn and things like that.
Yep.
To somebody that they hear this interview, they hear you, they hear your story, and they're like, I'll do that. I'll do whatever it takes. Whatever I got to do to make it in that. I want the freedom that you're developing. I want to be married one day. I want to have kids one day. I want to have freedom to spend with them. And I see real estate as the vehicle I feel called to do that in. But I'm brand new and I don't know anything. What advice would you give that individual today?
Yeah. Well, I guess, one, it will depend on age of this individual. Okay. If this is the 5-year-old person, then I would tell them basically to follow the path that I did and, roll up your sleeves and don't worry about money.
Yeah.
Worry about proximity and knowledge, and it better about hands-on knowledge is even, like we described, is better than paying for knowledge, especially at such a young age. Because what you have when you're young, you usually should have less overhead. Maybe you might be even still living at home, right? So your life is not as complicated yet.
Yeah.
Right? That's when you should go all in on whatever that vision you have for your life. So if it is being an entrepreneur in real estate, then go all in, roll up your sleeves, and be prepared to work 7 days a week if you have to, knowing that that's not where you're going to end up, right? But if you were older and you approached me with that question, I would need to really understand, do you have family? Do you have kids? Let's create something that will allow you to also maintain your family life, not lose your marriage because you can't work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Like, I know you want to, but if I take you down that path, you're going to ruin everything behind you. And then you're going to end up miserable, 3 years from now. And you might make money, but for what?
For what? You lost everything to gain it.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's just,
what's that? There's that to gain the world and lose, soul, or lose.
Same
yourself.
will apply, proximity and all that, but I think the path would be a little different for that individual.
So now, tactically, in real estate, someone's like, okay, let's just speak to the young person right now. Let's speak to someone that's like, hey, I have the means to go all in and do whatever it takes. And I know you talked to us about proximity and this and that. Can you give us even more tactical knowledge of getting started?
Yeah, I honestly, so if let's say you want to learn how to flip homes.
Okay.
I would literally reach out. It's easy to find who the flippers are.
Right.
Right. Just Google. All you need to put is sell your house for cash in Google, and you'll come up with all the big players because they're usually marketing towards those people, right?
Yeah.
Reach out to them and say, hey, I'm young, I'm hungry, I want to learn real estate, I want to, learn how to flip homes. Is there anything I can do for you guys? And I'm willing to be an intern even for 6 months, a year, whatever it takes, right? What do you, if I got a call like that from someone, I would listen.
Yeah.
I would be like, really? Okay, let's meet. This is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't usually get a call like this.
Yeah.
Right? And I can guarantee you would stand out from everybody else. Now, that's if you're financially stable, right?
Right.
So you got to have money coming from somewhere to pay your bills. So if you can intern even 10 hours a week, I would still take you. I'll find work for you that will not only advance your knowledge, but also help me.
Right. Yeah, and it's a win-win. Okay, so that's amazing. Finding the person, calling them up saying, hey, how can I serve you? How can I help you? I'm young. I'm hungry. So hope you guys are taking notes on this.
Research them.
Make sure they're legit.
Like maybe go visit some of their flips. Like get to understand their story. So when you connect with them, like you're not just randomly talking to them, not know anything about them, right?
Yeah, that's good. Well, maybe reach out to Randy.
Yeah, if you want to, I got plenty of opportunities.
That's awesome.
I just can't pay you.
Yep.
If you're good with
that. All right, so let's talk about a different avatar now. Somebody that they're older, they're married, they have kids. They have some money too, but they're tired of working their entire life away, and they want to start making the pivots now. Let's say that, his name's John. John's 45. John's had a 6-figure job for over a decade now, has some money put away, but is working so much and sees your life and says, you know what? I want more freedom. I want more time with my family. And he came to you and he said, Randy, what advice can you give me?
Yeah. So I probably would not tell John to get into flipping.
Okay.
And roll up his sleeves and go and do that path of working for free.
Yeah.
Instead, I would say if you do have some money put aside, I would discuss different opportunities of buying buy and hold property like single family rentals.
Okay.
Right. So things that are more passive.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're still in the real estate game and wealth building. Right. Again, long term.
Right.
You're not going to buy one house and get rich off one house as a rental. Right.
Yeah.
So creating a plan where that John can maybe buy a house every year for the next 10 years.
And create a cash-on-cash return?
Cash-on-cash return with the potential of, of course, tax benefits and potential of appreciation if it's in that market. And then maybe diversify and also look into different syndicates, right? Where you don't own necessarily one asset like a house, but maybe your money is pulled together with other people's money, and now you own a piece of an RV park, right? And it doesn't have to be a big investment, but now you're pulled into a huge pool, and that's very passive.
Yeah.
Right? That pays you, sometimes monthly, sometimes quarterly. Again, more long-term, right, as well. These are the things I do, so that's what I would talk about, right?
I think that's great. Do you think you'd be like, hey, John, keep working the job that's paying you well. Start buying up these asset classes that produce recurring revenue. Over time, hopefully the asset appreciates. I know you should never bank on that. Tax benefits, things like that. So in 10 years when you're 55, you're set up. Is that what you would say?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, unless John tells me that he wants to go all in on real estate, then I would probably then say, look, what things are you amazing at that you can transfer over to the new position for a company that can actually value your experience and pay you?
Okay.
Like you have to get paid
in real estate while learning real estate, while investing in real estate.
Maybe you won't get the same salary right from the beginning, but if you believe in yourself and you're good at what you said you're good at, then you should, exceed maybe even what you're making because you're in your lane of passion.
Yeah.
Right. And you still do the things I mentioned.
Right. That's amazing. So what, if we can get some secret sauce from you, what are you looking for in real estate right now? What's hot?
Well, I did get into land wholesaling too.
Yeah.
And this is what I like. There's so many different niches in real estate, right? So just because you start one way doesn't mean that's where you end up, right? So this is an agent that joined my team here in Southern California, and he bought a coaching program about land wholesaling. And I was intrigued, and I started listening, and I really, really kind of liked the business model compared to flipping homes.
Okay.
And next thing you know, so I coached him through some of the things that he was, because it's similar to a degree, right? You're still wholesaling, so I understand that how to navigate through paperwork and the conversations with the seller and the buyer and all that. The difference is that there's no house, right? It's just
land.
dirt, and there is less urgency. We have 2 months to make decisions, so it fit my lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's but he needed someone with a financial backing and kind of strategy for business growth. Let's put it that way. He was willing to roll up his sleeves and put into action what he's learning from this program that he just bought, but he needed a little bit more kind of direction.
Yeah.
Right? And we decided to partner.
Come on.
So now we're partners in that, and now we're, a year and a half in, and it's a 6-figure business pretty quick. And now we have partners now in Texas. And so we started, doing marketing in Houston, Texas, suburbs, and Nashville, suburbs of Nashville with another partner. So now we have 2 other partners. So yeah, that's kind of the new sexy thing that I'm doing that I do enjoy. And it doesn't take a lot of my time, which is, again, very important to me.
Yeah.
And it's very scalable. And it's just something new. I like new stuff too.
Yeah, it's exciting, right? And it challenges you and new things to figure out. That's amazing. You are so knowledgeable in real estate, Randy. And for those right now that are just scared of the current market, you started in real estate in a tough market. What would you speak to people that are just so uncertain about real estate right now?
We live in an amazing country.
Yeah,
I would say that, because in most countries like Poland and others, it wouldn't end the way things end in America for people that are in trouble. And what I mean by this, when the last big recession happened in 2006, 7, 8, and people were losing homes, there were solutions for them.
Yeah.
Short sales, things that's an amazing solution for someone that's in a very, very tough situation, right? That doesn't exist in Poland, right? They would take your house, they would take your shirt off your back before they would let you give up hundreds and thousands of debt to just be like, okay, you don't have to pay back. Don't worry about it. That's what we have here. It's not normal. So when I learned that early on, working for those guys, I was like, this is insane. You mean I can call the bank on behalf of a family, share their story of hardship, and the bank is going to just reduce their debt by $200,000 so then I can sell that house for them? And they're like, yeah. I was like, what? Is that true? And then I kept doing it and doing it and doing it. So I share that because that's why I'm not afraid of what happens, right? We're going to have ups and downs and, valleys and mountains, and we can't control what the economy will do, right? However, I know that there will be solutions. Banks will come up with solutions for borrowers.
Yeah.
They will not leave you on the street in most cases, unless you completely just don't talk to them.
Right.
Right? But if you're communicating, they will find solutions for you. Think about when COVID hit. Banks quickly came in and created forbearances and, hey, you don't have to make your mortgage payment right now. We'll put it on the back of the loan. Like the next 6 months, don't even stress about it. Like, they were proactive.
Right.
Right.
What other country does that?
It's very rare. So that's why I'm not worried. I'm actually excited, not that I want things to fall apart.
Right.
But I also think that it's exciting when things change to when we need to pivot, because I think opportunity, that's where it presents itself again. Right?
Some of the greatest wealth creation is created in downturn markets.
Yeah.
I'm excited personally.
I am too.
I'm an upcoming young guy, build my business. I look at it, I'm like, dude, there's going to be so much opportunity and so many people are going to be discouraged. But those that look for the pivots and how to capitalize will find them.
Yeah, and we don't have to feel bad about even that statement, knowing that, again, there will be solutions. We are a strong country, regardless of the chaos that's happening.
Yeah.
There will be solutions that will be available to the homeowners that are not doing well during that downturn.
Yeah.
And if I can be the solution for them, and not in the sense that I'm going to bail them out, but if I can help them navigate through the problem because I know how, then that's a beautiful thing. Like now I'm helping the person in distress navigate through the solutions that America presents to us.
Yeah.
And for the homeowner, it might be too much and overwhelming, but I can process it in a calm way and then navigate that with them.
Yeah, that's
and then
good.
get paid.
Yeah, that's good. So if you lived in San Diego, would you sell your house right now?
Well, that's a
tough.
That's a very case by case.
That's loaded, ain't it? Yeah.
Yeah, if you were to wanting to move, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I mean, because we might be, again, I don't know if we're gonna see the prices appreciate more than where they are right now.
Right.
So if you want to take especially if you own the home for more, and if you lived in there for 2 years or more.
Yeah.
Because now you take your equity tax free and you can do a lot with $500,000, let's just say, if that's the equity you have, and it's tax free if you're married. Right? $500,000 can go a long way in different cities and states, or reinvesting it into different arenas of, if it's syndicates or buying, you could take that $500,000 tax free and buy 3 to 4 single family rental properties.
Right.
And diversify that investment, right?
And cash flow them all.
Cash
and
flow.
buy and hold, right?
No
matter what goes on with the market.
And then you don't care if the market crashes.
Because if you got renters and they're paying rent, you're good.
And historically, it's proven that when the market goes down, that doesn't mean the rental market goes down.
Yeah.
Right?
People got to live somewhere.
We all have to live somewhere.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, anything else that's just left on your heart before we wrap up here that you'd love to share with us?
Yeah, I would go into just basically maybe sharing, one of the things that I really think about is I'm willing to give up. So I have 3 businesses. I think I told you before we started.
Yeah.
But I have a partner in every one of them, right? And I call them my who, right? From the book Who Not How.
Yeah, Who Not How. Go buy it. Amazon right now.
Yes, go buy that book, Who Not How. It's a great book. And so I have the who for every one of my businesses, which also means that I don't keep all the profits that come into that opportunity because I need to pay my who's the right way. And in most cases, those who's, they're partners of mine. So more leaning towards having partners and less employees. I've been there, and I'm just in this phase of life where I rather have partners and find my who's. And even though I make maybe 50% of the profit that comes in, I sleep better at night knowing that I can rely on my who's.
Yeah.
And they can rely on me. And also removing as much as reactive tasks from my life as possible.
Reactive task. Can you explain that?
Yeah. So when I was running the flipping company, a reactive task would be my acquisition guy comes to me and says, Randy, and we just locked up this property. We got to go see it, in the next day, because we agreed to close on it in 5 days. So now I have to drop everything and go and look at this house. But what if I had something planned with my family for the next day or two? Well, guess what? This trumps that, unfortunately, because this is my business. I chose this business.
Yeah.
Right. So my goal with everything that I'm doing is how can I orchestrate my businesses and put partners in place that are okay with working on those reactive tasks because they're my who to my how.
Yeah.
Right. But they wouldn't have the opportunities if I wasn't their who, because I'm good at creating opportunities and vision and all that. And I need them to be a bit more reactive than I am. Because right now I'm at the phase of life where I want to have freedom with family. I want to have weekends off. That's where my life, that's how I envision. And then eventually, as I raise up these other leaders, I want them to do the same for their own life. So I want to get them out of that phase of reactive mode and put someone underneath them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's powerful. And would you say, because the partner has skin in the game, that they give everything they have to it versus the employee?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, at this point in my life, as I think back about it, yeah, I think the buy-in is much bigger.
Yeah.
And longevity should be longer too. Right?
Because you're never going to care as much about a business. Like, the business owner is always going to care more, right? So if we had a venture and I'm an equity partner, I care a lot more than being your employee. You're paying me hourly, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's the truth, right? Because I have an interest in it.
Yeah. As long as the partnership is set up correctly where you get paid fair for what you do.
Yeah.
And like my right-hand agent, Jessica, who's my business partner in the retail space, right? Because I have clients and we help clients buy and sell properties. We work with a lot of investors. Every client that I work with, she works with them.
Yeah.
And I give her 50% of my profit.
Wow.
Because I look at her as she's my business partner. She's willing to do the reactive tasks right now. She's younger.
Yeah.
So she's in a different phase of life than me. And she doesn't want to go and look for clients.
Yeah. And I want to take, there's something really cool that you just said that I really want to make sure the audience doesn't miss. When you're young and hungry, there's always an angle to win and succeed in life.
Yeah.
Someone like Randy that's older and more successful than you doesn't want to handle the reactive task. But she's like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And she gets to benefit and build in the relational equity with you, being a part in the business, profiting from it, the doors that opens for her. Man, I just meet people all the time and they like, I don't know how to succeed. I'm like, what do you mean? There's an angle everywhere. Find the angle and work the angle. There are so many successful people out there that are at a stage in their life where there's a lot of crap they don't want to do. Go do it for them. That's a theme you've shared.
And even more important on top of it, make sure though that they have similar values that you have.
Alignment.
So if faith is important to you, like it is to us, I look for that.
Yeah.
Right. So like everybody that I'm doing business with now, there's a level of faith that we align on.
I think that's key too, right? Because if you went and worked with somebody doing that you didn't morally align with and core values, there's going to be friction.
Yeah, because exactly, because it will create tough conversations, and in those tough moments, you get to know that person very well. And what I like about the people that I surround myself with now, we know we can lean on God even in tough moments, and know that there's a reason we're going through this, and on the other side, there's going to be the fruit as long as we press in and stay together.
That's so good,
right? Pray about it, right, and pay ourselves fairly. Like we have to make sure that we have constant communication too, because if someone doesn't feel valued by how much they're getting paid for what they do, then that alone can fall apart.
Yeah, because that will lead to bitterness, resentment,
yep.
And then that'll build up, and that can cause a lot of issues. And I had someone we know, Daniel, on the other day too, Daniel Hack, and we were just talking about unmanaged expectations too. I think that's very key. So you doing all these business partnerships, the who's in your life, how important is managing expectations for you guys?
It's very important. So I have a meeting with every partner every week. I have a theme for each business of the week. So Monday is my realtor business, and I have a meeting with my partner, and I talk life. I want to first talk about life, what their goals are, where they're going. So again, alignment, understanding and managing their expectations.
Right.
As like Jessica is now pregnant as an example, like, so things are going to change, and I want to be there and navigate and help her through that. Right.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday is my recruiting, growing my organization at EXP Day, and Wednesday is my land day. Every week I have these meetings, and that allows me to stay in alignment, in constant communication with my team members, my partners, and just see like where are we failing? How can we help each other? What's coming up, right?
Yeah, that's so good.
Is your vision different now maybe than a year ago? Things change. People change their mind.
Yeah, and what's important to you. And just by becoming genuinely interested in others and what's important to them, they'll become genuinely interested in you, and you can stay aligned in that.
Yep. And I will always tell them, like, look, if whatever we're doing now doesn't excite you anymore, just tell me. It's okay, and I'll find a way to help you navigate to the next thing, as long as you help me replace what you're doing.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's so good. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, sharing wisdom with us. I know I got a lot out of this, and I'm sure they took a lot of notes. How can we support you? How can we find you? How can we connect with you?
Yeah, I think the easiest thing now, if you would like to just join our community. So I just launched a brand called Investor Agent Nation. So if you actually go to investoragentnation.com, it will forward you to our YouTube channel because it's a new brand, a few months, but we're doing free trainings.
Wow.
I have another Eric, in that business.
Of course you do.
Yeah, surprise. And yeah, we're having fun. We're just doing free education for anyone that wants to get into the investing business as an agent, or vice versa. If you're an investor, understanding how to work with realtors better. So we're just sharing for free. There's no cost. It's a good way to get to know me, get to know the way I think, the way I kind of navigate through the real estate, industry, I guess. And then, if things click, then let's talk further and see how I can help you from there. I think that's a good way to kind of get to know each other.
InvestorAgentNation.com.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, go connect with them, guys. Randy, so glad we had you on the show. And guys, I really hope you walked away from this episode learning, how do you design your life in the way that you want to? How do you get in proximity to what you want? How do you create the time freedom and the financial freedom to live the life you want to live? And I just want to remind you guys, every single one of you can do it. There's nothing special about Randy that makes him touched by God and anointed to do this, and only he can do this. Pretty awesome guy, amazing. Will never be another you in the world. But at the same time, every person out there can create that same financial freedom, that same time freedom in your life if you want it bad enough. And if you get in proximity to guys like Randy that can teach you how to do it. So go make today great.